Thanks for tuning in to the Urban Scope podcast. I'm back with more hip hop news. And of course, T.I. is back. He just released a video of him cutting off the dreads and him looks like he's in a barber shop, and then you can hear a song in the background. But he actually released a new song, a single called "Let 'Em Know," and of course, it's produced by Pharrell Williams. Pharrell's been had a great or phenomenal last year, and it seems like he's off to a great start again. The new song with Ti, I like it. I don't love it yet. I still have to hear it a couple more times. Only heard it a couple times already. I think I need to listen to it a little bit more to get the gist of the lyrics and just the production and the marriage of it all. But so good so far, and I was just excited to see Ti come back because he's ventured off into that comedy realm, and it didn't go as well as I think he wanted it to go. But I admire the attempt because we want to box in our artists and we want to box in our athletes and people and entertainers, but they have other aspirations as well and want to see where they can venture off into. And I always admire the attempt because people like Eddie Murphy, he was a comedian, but he went off to be a singer, didn't go as much as he wanted to go. But then you have people like Jamie Foxx, who was a comedian and an actor, and then he went off to do singing, and it went marvelous for him. It went fantastic. So you have the different ends of the spectrum, but you got to at least try. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take, and I believe that wholeheartedly. And those entertainers can leverage their careers into another one because they're already there. So it's easy to transition over and for people to see your talents. Even Adam Sandler's, he's doing like tours now as a comedian, but he's doing music and he's doing stuff like that. So, when you have to venture out and at least try to, at least try to say you did it, the worst that you can do is fail. But, you know, there's other opportunities out there as well. You can always go back to what you can do. And what he does is music at the highest level, and he's his versatility in rapping is unmatched, I wanna say, because he can rap so many different styles. He can give you the love songs, he can give you the trap songs, he can give you the social justice songs, he can give you the pop club record. He can give you all of those different looks, and that's what we admire most about Ti. And he's still a top 10 rapper to me. So argue with your mama on who you think the top 10 rappers are, but he's always in my top 10, and that's not just because coming from the South, because I actually listen to his catalog, opposed to in opposition to other people's catalogs, and he has the most complete catalog, one of the most complete catalogs I could say because even my favorite rappers, like a Nas, had a couple duds. Ti really doesn't have a dud album. Maybe that first one had was hit and miss, but for the most part, he has a lot of classic records and a lot of classic albums. And he can go bar for bar pretty much with anybody, and his lyricism and complexity is all there. But as an artist from Atlanta, they're not going to look at it that way. They think of it as some kind of just trap music, but it's more complicated than just trap music. That's just a small part of what he does as a lyricist and as a rapper and as a hip hop MC. But he definitely can go bar for most artists. But this single got me excited about what the album would sound like because it sounds like he's back in that urban legend, King, T.I. King bag. And if he goes back into that bag, it's going to be amazing because that's when he was in his prime. That's when he was in his bag, so to speak. Just the records that he made, it was a lot of gym type tempo music. And if he brings that, which is this Let Him Know single is in that same ballpark. And if he gives us that type of music, Oz, he's gonna be back like he never left. Because it's been 5 years since he released that last project, The Libra, which I was kinda it had songs on it, but I think he was kinda losing interest, and this was around the time of COVID. So it's been since 2020 since he released a project. And like I said, he ventured off to do this comedy thing, but that last project I think was just him just putting out a project. I don't think he really wanted to put that project out. It didn't sound like he did. But there was some great songs on there, but it wasn't the project that we're used to. But then, like I said, a lot of things happened. It was COVID. It was a lot of tough times during that time. People, you couldn't be out like you wanted to be. So he couldn't really make the records that he really wanted to make back then because he makes a lot of outside records, not a records that's, meant for being in the house, doing laundry or whatever. A lot of his music is made for the club and made for the car and made for parties and things like that. And during that time in 2020, people wasn't really putting out that type of music because nobody was getting out. But now he has a chance to change that. I think this album is supposed to release. Previously, it was supposed to release in the fourth quarter of this year, and it was supposed to be titled "Kill the King." But I don't know if that's still going to be the title anymore, or will it drop that late? Because they say he finished the album already, pretty much, and it should be releasing soon. So I expect this album to release right before the summertime, just in time for that type of music that he makes. So I think that album will drop sometime, maybe April, May-ish, just in time for the summer, and I believe we'll get another single maybe before, March. But, what he's doing now, I think it's a great start to what he did, and the promo was amazing, especially cutting off the hair, showing him that T.I. is back. He had the dreads and when he was doing the comedy, but now we getting that fade, the T.I. with the fade. That T.I. with the fade was a problem. And if we get him again, it's gonna be amazing. And I still don't think that nobody really can compete with him in the verses other than maybe, of course, a T.I. and Kanye and maybe Future and people like that can. But most artists, that you consider from after those artists, other than, maybe Lil Wayne, Kanye, Jay-Z, maybe a couple other artists. But other than that, if it's only 5 artists that really can mess with T.I. in the verses. Other than that, I don't see many other artists doing it. It's just a difficult task because he has so many different records, hit records with big names, hit records by itself, so many anthems and so many, yeah, his anthems are crazy. He has so many of those. So I don't think many artists can compete with him on that level, especially none on, in the South. There's not really many. Maybe a Rick Ross, but Rick Ross doesn't make the level of music that T.I. makes, and depending on the setting, especially if it's in a club setting, Rick Ross music doesn't hit hard as T.I.'s or even Trick Daddy to that degree, or even the Outkast. T.I.'s music is just different. It's hard to explain, but it's like anthem music, music that you ride out to, music that you go to the gym to. It's just so many different looks you can have with that music, that most artists just don't have. But I hope this album does have the legendary collabs that we're used to or accustomed to from T.I. with the DJ Toomps. He already has the single with Pharrell in the bag. Maybe he'll have another one. Maybe he'll collab with ACL Jacob, somebody we really haven't seen him collab with yet, an up and coming producer, but has a lot of hits. Speaking of hits, Hit Boy, what they can do together. It's amazing what Hit Boy and Nas have done, and what Hit Boy has done with pretty much every artist in the industry now. Even a Manny Fresh collab. We know Manny Fresh and T.I. worked before. It'd be nice to see them work again. Um, then of course the features, he has to put Lil Wayne and Lil Baby and even hopefully see a Leon Thomas, but definitely need to see a Rihanna or in a Jay-Z sighting on this new project. It'll be amazing to see because Jay-Z doesn't put out verses or projects a lot now lately. So anytime you can get a Jay-Z verse would be amazing, especially Rihanna. She's been pretty dormant as far as music goes because she's been doing the fashion things and behind the scenes stuff now and being a mother and stuff like that. So anytime she can pop out and do music, it'll be amazing. So tell me what you think about this Ti resurgence, and until next time, I'll see you next time.